Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula. My family and I are okay. We are safe in Western Ukraine. I'm doing this voiceover on March 6th and we are safe as of today. I share updates on my Facebook and Instagram, and that's where you can find more current updates from me. At the end of this video, I also talk a little bit more about what's going on and how thankful I am for all of your help. Now let's go back to our happy place, making cards. Welcome back to my channel. Have you ever made embossed card bases? Embossed not only the front, but also the back of your cards. I've tried this recently using one of the Simon Says Stamp 3D embossing folders, and I love the result. I shared that card and video tutorial in a different video. It's linked in the cards here and also in the video description below. I used regular size embossing folders for the cards that I shared in that video. In this video, I'm working with larger size embossing folders from Spellbinders to create an embossed card base in a single pass. These are regular 2D embossing folders, but the size of these is much larger. They are 5.5 by 8.5 inches. You can see how big the folders are, and they emboss half of a letter sheet in a single pass. This size is versatile as it not only lets you create an embossed card front for larger size cards, but you can also create embossed card bases using these folders if your preferred card size is A2. And this is the card size I like the most for my crafting. I've already embossed a bunch of panels using these embossing folders. The sandwich for these in Spellbinders Platinum, Platinum 6, and limited edition Aqua machines is the same. It is the base platform, and by the way, the instructions are also listed on the base platform if you ever forget them. You have a cheat sheet there. Then you add your embossing folder with the paper inside and cover that with one cutting plate on top. If you have a different die cutting machine, check out the Spellbinders website for sandwich instructions. Now, because these are 2D embossing folders, I did not need to spray my paper with water. You can do that if you find you have cracks on your paper after you've embossed it, but I didn't see the need to do that here. Once you've embossed your panel, you'll need to score it using a scoring board. I score mine at 4.25 inches to create an A2 card. Now I'm using thicker cardstock here. This is Spellbinders cardstock, and I find I like to score it on both sides to help loosen the fibers and fold the paper without any cracks. I also fold it one way and then fold it the other way. Now, as with any embossing folders, you have two sides, an embossed side where the design is raised, and then a debossed side where the design is pressed into the paper. Depending on the design of the folder, I use embossed or debossed side, and I actually think they're both very pretty. This particular cardstock color cracked a little bit. This is the color Waterfall from Spellbinders, but the other paper that I used creased just fine. I'll show you how to fix that cracking in just a minute. Next, I used my paper trimmer and I trimmed these card bases. When you dry emboss, the paper shrinks a little bit. It's just the nature of the embossing process, so it shrinks just a tiny bit. And when you fold it into a card base, you end up having one longer flap and one flap that's just a hair shorter. I trimmed that longer excess to make the flaps of my card base even. To make my card bases nicer and pretty on the inside, I used a white card base created from thinner cardstock. This is Nina Sawyer White 80-pound cardstock. And I added that white card base onto the inside of the embossed card base. So I'm basically gluing two card bases together. I had to trim the white card base down slightly to make sure it would fit inside and no white would stick or show outside of my pretty embossed card base. I used glue to adhere the white card base inside my embossed card base. I first adhered one flap. I made sure it was perfectly aligned, and then I adhered the other flap. I used my Barely Art glue for this as I needed something stronger than just regular double-sided tape to hold the paper together. Plus, when you use glue, you have a short window of time before the glue dries, and this gives you time to wiggle the paper a little bit if you need to realign your panels. So this is one way of creating an embossed card base. This gives a very thick base for a card. It's not flimsy, it is very strong and durable. The cracked fold line bothered me, so I used a nail file and I sanded the paper to get rid of the imperfections. This helped a lot and finished the fold nicely for this card. So if your paper cracked when you folded your card base, you can sand it down using a nail file or a sanding block. Now, when you use this method to create a card base, where you adhere a full card base on the inside of the card, your card will not open up completely. It will not open flat. It will still open enough for you to write a message on the inside, and it will stand on a shelf nicely without falling, but it will not open completely. Another method is to adhere white cardstock panels on the inside of the embossed card base without covering the fold. This will allow your card base to open fully, but you'll be able to see the fold line from the inside of your card. I don't particularly like this method, as I prefer the inside of my card to be completely covered, but this is a nice alternative. You can also add just one panel to the right-hand side flap to have room for your message, and even skip adding the panel to the left-hand side flap of your card. And this will also make your card lighter, and it will be cheaper to mail it. So that's how you make embossed card bases for your cards using larger size embossing folders. I used several designs for these cards, and I have them all linked below. From here, you can decorate your cards however you want. I die cut sentiments for mine using the Smooth Lines Mix and Match sentiment set from Spellbinders from gold glitter paper and white fun foam. I adhered the gold glitter die cuts onto the foam die cuts to add dimension, and I also glimmered a sub-sentiment for each die cut sentiment using matte gold foil. And my foiling was done on Spellbinders Specialty Glimmer cardstock. I knew I wanted to add flowers, so I die cut mini flowers from various shades of yellow and pink cardstock using the Mini Blooms and Sprigs die set from Spellbinders. It is still my favorite set for little floral die cuts. I couldn't help but use blue and yellow colors for these cards, the colors of the Ukrainian flag. I didn't go with the traditional vibrant blue, but I used various shades of blue here, and I also added a pale yellow and a few pale pink colors to the mix. While these cards are very simple, they pack a punch because of the embossed front and back and the smooth inside. They give a nice tactile feeling when you hold them in your hand. I wanted to thank you for your kindness and your continued support. I see all of your messages and DMs, and they keep us going. I'm sorry I haven't been able to reply to everyone. I do my best, but I'm also trying to stay off social media as much as possible, as every time I'm there, I just start crying and I cannot stop. I'm at a loss for words. Thank you so very much for your help. My family and I are lucky because we live in the west of Ukraine, and it is safe here now. By now, I mean on March 6th. That's when I'm doing the voiceover for this video. But I can't imagine the fear, the horror, and the panic of people who lost their homes due to the Russian attack on Ukraine. My aunt and uncle live in a small village near Kyiv. That's the capital of Ukraine. They don't want to leave. They hear explosions, they hear the burning sky, they see the fires in the distance, and they can smell the smoke in the air. Many people have left Ukraine, especially mothers or grandmothers with children, but many are staying to defend our country, and I'm staying as well, at least for now. On my blog, I've posted a letter from my friend Denzel, who is helping us gather money and fight for our freedom. I love you all, and I hope this horror will end soon. In the meantime, I will continue to create cards and film videos whenever I can, and I hope I'll see you next time.